الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي تسليما اللهم صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والسماء ذات البروج واليوم الموعود شاهد ومشهود قتل أصحاب الأخدود النار ذات الوقود إذ هم عليها قعود وهم لم يفعلون بالمؤمنين الشهود وما نقم منهم إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحميد الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض والله على كل شيء شهيد. إن الذين فتنوا المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثم لم يتوبوا فلهم عذاب جهنم ولهم عذاب الحريق. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار ذلك الفوز الكبير. إن بطش ربك لشديد إنه هو يحيي ويميت وهو الغفور الودود ذو العرش المجيد فعل لما يريد. هل أتاك حديث الجنود فرعون والثمود بل الذين كفروا في تكذيب والله من ورائهم محيط. بل هو قرآن مجيد في لوح محفوظ. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
May Allah have mercy on the one who recites Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. أفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله نعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وأنيس نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وأصحابه المنتجبين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج All praises are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We send our salams, blessings and salutations to our noble Prophet, peace be upon him, and to his pure progeny. We have now reached the 10th of Muharram, my brothers and sisters. Tonight is the night of Ashura, a night of grief, a night of weeping and lamentation. In the Mafatih al-Jinan, if you open, the night of Ashura is one of the nights that being awake the entire night is recommended. Ihya fil layl. As a matter of fact, every Thursday night it's recommended to stay awake praying the entire night. Those who can, it's a great fadila, it's a great blessing and a great opportunity if you can stay awake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the servants who stay awake in the night or who wake up in the night as pearls and precious ones. At a time when all the khalaiq, all the creations are sleeping, all the others are sleeping, you take this extra attempt to get up, to stay away from your sleep, and to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to call out to your Lord when all are asleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves this. As a matter of fact, staying awake on Thursday nights and for Salatul Layl, especially Salatul Layl, it's mentioned that it comes as a person in your grave to save you from the tormentation of the grave. The night when you are put into your grave and all your relatives, your families, your friends are gone, when the angels come, the Nakir and Munkar, when that scenario and that scenery, which is one of the most difficult ones, where our tongue has no use, it's our deeds that answer. Our beliefs that we hold in our brains have no use. It's the belief of reality. What we actually embody in our life will come to help. This Salatul Layl will be the night in that grave. So generally staying awake in the night, waking up for the night itself is a great fadila. But then there are certain nights Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like in the Noble Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فِي بُيُوتٍ أَذِنَ اللَّهُ أَن تُرْفَعَ. In certain places, in certain houses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the permission to elevate and exalt yourself. Likewise, there are certain timings as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you permission and opportunity to elevate yourself. And so in the holy month of Ramadan is a prime opportunity. When Hajj arrives is a prime opportunity. Laylatul Qadr is a prime opportunity. And according to some riwayat, Laylatul Raga'ib, the night of the 15th month of Sha'ban is a very great opportunity. And of these opportunities, my brothers and sisters, both collectively as a community and both individually we can thrive and make use of, is this night, the night of Ashura, the night that precedes the 10th of Muharram. It's a night, not only is it blessed for us, but brings up memories from the family of Abu Abdullah Husayn, what they were doing in the tents, preparing each other for tomorrow's sacrifice, each one of the family members and the companions, becoming Ismail on the day of Ashura, trying to have patience for the aggression that will befall on them. In the series of our discussions, talking about how Abu Abdullah Husayn, as mentioned in the hadith of the noble Prophet, Inna Husayn Misbah al-Huda wa Sakinatul Najah, Husayn is the candle of guidance and the ark of salvation. How Abu Abdullah Husayn is the ark of salvation, and what weighty and what valuable thing do we have in Abu Abdullah Husayn that gives us that salvation in this world and hereafter. We were discussing, and we came to the point that we acknowledge that in these majalis, which are very important, these gatherings that we come together and remember and we weep and we lament and we cry for the family of Abu Abdullah Husayn and for the atrocities that befall on Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, the important thing that we should remember is that we take energy from this weeping and crying, and we remember the atrocities to prepare ourselves, to arm ourselves for the coming and the arrival of the Mahdi. And this coming and the arrival of the Mahdi is the beginning of Qiyam, is the beginning of accomplishing that faraj, the beginning of Hukumatullah, the beginning of the government of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this crying, my brothers and sisters, don't consider it a crying of depressed ones, those who have lost their family and have no way out. No, this crying is a crying of motivation. You know, when someone becomes extremely happy, tears fall from their eyes. And when someone becomes extremely depressed, also tears fall. But then when someone is also extremely motivated, tears fall from their eyes as well. This type of crying that we go through over here with the sadness is a cry that gives us energy. As I mentioned, there are two folds, there are two pages from the history of Ashura. One is a dark page. If we just consider this dark page where Abu Abdullah and his family were killed, then the champions of this dark page will be Yazid and Ubaydullah and the Shimr and the killers of Abu Abdullah Husayn. And the entire mission of the noble Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam will coincide. That if we consider the white page, the luminous page, the page that gives us energy, that's when we understand that this cry is not just any cry, this weeping and lamenting is not any weeping. And the intensity of our cry and the intensity of our weeping and the intensity of the reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us, as I mentioned, maybe one hajj, maybe 100 hajj, maybe 1,000 hajj, it all depends on our ma'rafah, on our recognition and understanding from the mission of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. If we come to this majalis as just as an entertainment and we turn away from this majalis without changing our lives, without reviving what we're going to do on a daily basis, without putting objectives, setting objectives for ourselves. It's an Islamic New Year, and many in the New Year's you find New Year resolutions. Our New Year's resolution as a Shia, as a follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, is to revive the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. We must determine this for the entire year and then set down these objectives. That's why this 10 days and nights are important for us as the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And so the more mature we are, the better we determine our self-resolution. That's the intensity. That's to the proportionate of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us rewards for Hajj. We also acknowledge that faraj and the relief of the mu'mineen, of the believers and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam is not a joke. And it is an active mission. Just like we have the awliya of Tawhut and awliya of Allah. Those who follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who follow Tawhut, they're not just passive followers, just believe in something and carry on their day-to-day life. They're actively going through these two forces within them. So therefore, if we embody this message of Ahya Amrana, of reviving the message, is an active form of embodiment, my brothers and sisters. And so there is no joke in Faraj, and this hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, this promise that He gives us that this will happen, is a promise that will happen. Sunnatullah la tabdila li sunnatihi abada. There is no change in the sunnah of Allah, the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how Allah has determined, and it will be so. Please recite our salawat. And yes, this is not to undermine the other benefits that we have in the majalis. I can remember a sister that came last year. I wasn't here, but I heard a story. A sister from London, the day of Ashura, when we were distributing the food, and you know there is shifa in this food. Tabarruk, we don't just call it food or refreshment. It's tabarruk. Tabarruk means there's barakah in this food. When it's done with the intention and sincerity from Abdullah Husayn. I had a classmate, I had a roommate while I was in Islamic seminary. He was telling me that how his sister, complicated in health issues, high in her diabetes and all other issues. But when Muharram comes, she eats anything and everything she sees in the majalis. And she finds no difficulty. She's a living miracle for the entire family. This doesn't mean that we should not take care of ourselves, my brothers and sisters. Of course. But this sister from Linden last year, I can remember, was told that when she came, she had cancer and she had restrictions with her food. It was so told to her to taste a little bit from the food of Allah, even though she had restrictions. Maybe this can become a cure for you. She did, and afterwards, it was surprising for us. She came back to us with the results from the doctor saying that no cancer was there in her body. So these are other benefits. The Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam, أحياء عند ربهم. Even though they are dead in terms of their physical body, but they're living. All the shuhada, they're living in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is giving them special sustenance. In the Quran it says, وَلَا يَشْعُرُونَ. In one ayah it says, أَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. The other says, أَنْتُمْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ. Once you don't know that they're living, that doesn't mean that they're not living. They're living. They're getting special sustenance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, this Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam, remember that even after their death, as you find many of the Ashab and the Ahlul Bayt, when they feel this depression after Rasulullah, they would go to the grave of Rasulullah and speak with Rasulullah. And some who had a very great status, an exalted status, they would hear the response from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. So they're living and they're... But the actual, and these are the different benefits of the majalis, but the actual benefit and the actual objective of the majlis is to acquire this revivement, to acquire this objective of this energy to revive the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So my brothers and sisters, we talked about Faraj, and we talked about how there are two opinions. The first one being that you can wait, just like how the brothers of Ahl Sunnah are doing, and many of the Shias also, they embody this opinion saying that the Imam will come and he will look after it. And we saw the results of those. Tawabin, my brothers and sisters, led by Sulaiman ibn Surad al-Khudai. What happened is when Muslim ibn Aqil was left alone, when Muslim called them to come and join the mission, now that Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad is taking a turn in the history, it's now time to stand before the time for slaughter of Abdullah comes. We promised that we will stay loyal to his mission. We promised Abdullah that we will stay in his path. Now he's on his way. It's now time to show ourselves now in the battlefield, in the field, not on the letters on the paper anymore, in the field. When he called, Sulaiman says, no, we will wait. What happens? The incident of Karbala takes place. All the shuhada of Karbala are now killed after the caravan of Abdullah Husayn is taken as prisoners to Kufa and Sham, and then they return to Medina. Then these brothers and sisters come together and say, what a mistake we did. What a mistake we did. What is the cost of this mistake? Tawbah. That's why they're called Tawabi. When the work is done, there is no more use, my brother. The Imam is now killed. So they come together, and you know what was the number? 4,000 of them were the Tawabi. 4,000. Imagine if the same 4,000, on a timely manner, they understood the mission of Abdullah Husayn, and they joined Muslim ibn Aqil, and they were able to welcome Abdullah in Kufa. You know what would have happened? The entire history would have changed. Entire history would have changed. The Faraj would have probably been achieved at that time. The government of Allah with peace and justice would have already been established by that time. But no, untimely decision. Tawabi, they came together. What happened eventually? They came together, they said, we made a big mistake, we have to do tawbah. And the only way Allah is going to forgive us for the mistake that we did, for not helping Abdullah Husayn, is through fighting those who killed Abdullah. Take revenge from the killers of Abdullah Husayn. So they gathered and they mobilized, and most of them, they achieved death in the battlefield. So we may be able to call them shuhada of Tawabi. But what kind of a shahada is that? When the Imam calls you, you don't go to them. But when the Imam is dead, then you go to a shahada. So this opinion and this notion of waiting, my brothers and sisters, is nullified in the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Now, what do we do? If we're not waiting for the faraj of the Imam, for the arrival of the Mahdi, then what do we do at this time? The simple responsibilities as we have as individuals, of course, at every time, even when the Imam comes and reappears and arrives, those same personal responsibilities are still active on us. Praying 5 times a day, having piety, rejoining each other towards good, and repelling and discouraging each other from evil. Going towards Hajj, fulfilling all our family duties, our community duties. All of this, as a personal person, as those personal responsibilities, are still intact. As a matter of fact, this will be your first step. Those who fulfill the responsibilities personally on them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up gates for them. A group came to Ayatollah Bahjat, and this was mentioned a couple of times. It was apparently not only for Ayatollah Bahjat, many other ulama also did mention the same thing. They asked him for advice and they insisted him, and he said there is no need to give you some very big advice to sit down like how the Buddhists give you the quotations, all this and that, beautify it. I said, no, that's simple, very, very simple. Like how we speak to each other on a daily basis. It's very simple. Do what you know. Commit to what you know. You know that telling lies is haram and it's evil, don't do it. You know cheating and robbing is haram and evil, don't do it. Simple. And Allah will open up the ways, and Allah will give you the knowledge of what you don't know. مَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whosoever has piety of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him a way of exit in the turmoil times, So my brothers and sisters, fulfill your responsibilities, your personal responsibilities. Allah will give you a way out in your difficult situations. So these personal responsibilities are there, and there is no way of exiting from these personal responsibilities, even when the Imam arrives. I request all the brothers and sisters to come, the brothers especially, to come closer towards the member, inshallah, with a loud recitation of salawat. Now the personal responsibilities are always intact and they do not change. The salat, the fasting, and so on. But then we have not only personal responsibilities, community and congregational responsibilities, my brothers and sisters. And it's a very, very important point. And this is the main reason, one of the main reasons why the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr al-Zaman, the Mahdi has not arrived yet. Yes, during the time we had cream of the creams, the best of the best who lived. Bahr al-Ulum, Sheikh Sharafuddin Amuli, who else do you want to name? Sheikh Ansari, Sheikh Tusi, Saduq, Sayyid Razi, all of these were the great of the greatest ulamas. Just to give you one small hint of their greatness and their piety, my brothers. We can now sit down and compare ourselves to them. When Sheikh Mufid was the teacher of Sayyid Razi and Sayyid Muharram. These two great personalities. Now, how these two young personalities came to become the student of Sheikh Mufid, it's a story on its own. It's a very beautiful story, where Sheikh Mufid dreams that Lady Fatima brings Hassan and Husayn to Sheikh Mufid to teach something to them, and then when he wakes up, he sees a woman bringing 2 sons, and the sons were Radi and said Radi and said Mustafa. It's a beautiful story on its own. But these two are young students, very small, not even the age, they hadn't even reached the age of maturity. Sheikh Mufid, one day he comes up and he says, which one of you two, or rather to all of the students, and of the students were Sayyid Murtada and Sayyid Rabi, which one of you two have never committed a haram in your life? Both of them said, both of us, we've never committed a haram in our life. It's possible, my brothers. Don't look at it as a very surprising thing. With proper upbringing, even everyone can become ma'soom. Everyone can become ma'soom. Everyone can become sinless. Yes, it's possible. It's completely possible. It's a notion of the Christians and many other non-Islamic faith that say it's impossible to become sinless. Yes, it's possible. When you align yourselves, if it was not possible, then why was there imtihan? Why was all of this world in existence? Why would we be tested? If in every test we were able to score 100, isn't that a possibility? Isn't it? In our exams, isn't it a possibility to score 100? Yes, it's possible. It's difficult. It's difficult, but it's possible. Many of the ulama have done it. And that's why, just like how we do in schools, we sometimes use the help of others who already got 100 in their exams to improve in our examinations. We have to do the same. Those who got 100, those infallibles, the infallibles of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, of course, they're different from us. Them being sinless is different. That's not iktisabi. They haven't achieved this state of sinlessness. Allah gave it to them from His knowledge and His faith. But us, when we achieve this state of sinlessness, it's iktisabi. We strive and we struggle to achieve this. And it's a discussion on its own. What is the difference between these two infallibilities? And how can one become infallible? Is that even a possibility? Who are infallibles in this? That's a discussion in its own. But, the point I want to make over here, look at the importance and the personality and the character of these people. Shaykh Mufid asks these two students, which one of you have never committed haram in your life? Both said, we have never committed haram. Which one of you have never committed even a makruh? You know, haram is impermissible. It's prohibited for you to commit it. Makruh is permissible, but it's disliked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's better you don't do it. An example is like cutting your nails for example, on Saturdays. Or even having your nails lengthy. Having your nails lengthy underneath, it's makruh. It's better to cut them. Unless for sisters, if they want to keep it for beauty purposes, that's allowed. It's makruh, it's not haram. It's not a sin. So he asks them, which one of you have never committed a makruh? Both of them said, we have never committed a makruh. He says, which one of you have ever left a wajib? For example, a wajib prayer, a salat you've missed. And have not done a leftover of that salat. He said, none of us. We've committed we've done all our obligations. I've never missed any of them. Which one of you have missed the mustahabbat, the recommendations? Recommendations are things good to do. You'll be rewarded. But then, if you don't do it, you won't be sent for that either. He said, we have all committed recommendations. We have never missed our recommendations. Trying to emphasize the personalities, my brothers and sisters. And then he asks a very important question. Which one of you have never done a mubah act? A mubah act is just simply plain permissible. Like us sitting down right now, it's mubah. We can stand, we can sit, we can lie down. Of course, as long as it's not going to be disrespectful to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can stand up and just walk in the street. It's mubah. It's not haram, it's not wajib, it's not mubah. So what's this question? Which one of you have never committed a permissible act? Meaning what? That even your mubah actions can be converted into recommended actions or wajib actions. Wajib through nadhr, for example. Right? For example, you want to sleep, it's mubah permissible. You make wudu and you recite 3 times Qul huwallahu ahad, and then you make the intention, oh Allah, I'm sleeping so that I gain energy to wake up back with energy to pray and to perform my obligations and my duties to you and to the community. Now this becomes a recommended act. Not only are you just sleeping, you're also being rewarded for your sleep. And that's why, my brothers and sisters, in parentheses, it's important to say that the day of Qiyamah, one of the titles of the day of Qiyamah, the day of judgment, is Yawm al-Hasra, the day of regret. We'll not only regret the bad things that we did, the evil sins that we committed, but we will also regret the moments that we were able to commit good deeds, but we did not do it. The opportunities we had. So one brother says yes when they were asked, which one of you have never committed or never done a mubah act? One brother says yes, I've never committed, the other says no. Sheikh Mufid says that one who committed, Sayyid Ravi, has precedence over the other one. Now, ulama like this, people who have never committed haram, who have never committed makruh, who have never missed their wajibat, who have never missed their recommendations, mustahabbat, and who have never even had mubah in their life existed during the. Why did the Imam did not come? What was the Mahdi lacking that he did not come? What was the Savior lacking? Such a cream of the cream. What was it that he did not see in them? The answer lies in the number, my brothers and sisters. Number. See, so many ahadith and riwayat we have from the Ahlul Bayt and the noble Prophet talking about number. I've heard some ulama, they say quality is important. Forget about quantity. No. This is completely wrong. Both are equally important. You need quality and in quantity. You need good things and a number of good things. That's why we had people like Harun al-Makki at the time of Imam Rada alayhi salam. It's a very famous story and it's been repeated to us day in and day out. We've heard this so many times that we sometimes lack focus on the different elements of this hadith. Man comes to Imam Rada from Khurasan. He says, there are so many people waiting for you in Khurasan. You just call the call of Qiyam. Stand up and rise. They will come and they will assist you in formulating the hukuma of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They conversed a bit together. Eventually, one of the ashab of Imam Rada came in. And then Imam Rada just indicated to him to go inside that oven. Pointed that sahabi to go enter into the oven. Mind you, before the sahabi came, Imam Rada asked this man from Khurasan to go enter into the oven. He said, the oven, I'll die out of heat. Why would I enter into the oven? Am I crazy? He says, wait. Then the sahabi came, Imam Rada pointed, the sahabi goes into the oven. And this man from Khurasan continued conversation with Imam Rada. And then Imam Rada asked him, what's your opinion about the one who entered into the oven? He says, definitely annihilated and perished. What exists of him now? Imam Rada opens the door of the oven and he says, he's sitting down there, calm, and he's reciting the Noble Quran. He says, how many of these do you have in Khurasan? Who do not question our commandment, but they follow it. These are awliya Allah. So my brothers, this is two lessons over here. One, the quality is important. At the same time, quantity. Imam Ali was once faced with another man who talked about, who demanded why he's not doing uprising, why he's not doing against the oppression befallen upon them. Says, if I had 1,000 of the companions like you. Now, at different times and different situations, calls for different number, my brothers and sisters. At one time, we find Imam Hassan, when he was objected, why you're not uprising against Muawiyah, Imam Hassan says, if I had a number of people just pointing at a group of sheep, it says, if I had a number of people, in the number of the sheep over there, I would have done the uprising. And the man went and counted, it was 18. Imam lacked 18 companions. What do you mean lacking 18 companions? He didn't have 18, no, he didn't have 18 quality companions. So my brothers and sisters, the number and the quantity and the quality, both of them go hand in hand. The Mahdi is not only waiting for your quality, he's also waiting for your quantity. Jam'akum. Jam'ukum. It's mentioned in the riwayah of Imam Salih alayhi salam. He talks about the faraj, and when this faraj will happen, he says, ولو أن أشياءنا على اجتماع من القلوب في الوفاء عليهم فلا تأخر. If our Shias, if our followers were to come together with their hearts and form a congregation, then there will be no delays in the faraj, in accomplishment of the faraj. What is he talking about? Congregation. Yes, there are Shias, 1, 2 scattered, but the quality of the congregation does not exist there. Keep in mind, my brothers and sisters, there was a man who came to Lady Fatima salamullahi alayha after the death of her father, noble Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family. Lady Fatima was apparently among the shuhada of Uhud in the graveyard of Baqi. She was reciting Surah Fatima for those deceased. This man came to Lady Fatima and said, why has Ali not taken his rightful place? Why has he sat down in his house and he's not approaching? Before that, he asks, is there any evidence, final and ultimate evidence, that the rightful place for Khilafah is for Ali? Lady Fatima replies, I'm surprised that you still ask this after the Rasulullah went through Ghadir with you guys. More than 100,000 Muslims were around there. He held the hand of Ali and he announced publicly and openly, Man kuntu mawlahu fahada Ali mawla. Is there even still a question for you? And then he asks, why then Ali has sat down in his house and he's not doing anything? And he's not taking his rightful place? Lady Fatima, she responds with a very beautiful sentence. She says, مَثَلُ الْإِمَامِ مَثَلُ الْكَعْبَةِ إِذْ تُؤْتَى وَلَا تَأْتِي. The example of Imam is the example of Kaaba. You have to go towards the Kaaba. You have to go towards the Imam. They don't come to you. Once the acceptance and the consensus and the congregational acceptance of Imam is there, that's when the Imam leads the society. Or else, if the society is not prepared and does not have the capacity, how can the Imam do so? Can you put a black cloth in the fridge and circulate that fridge and say you've done Hajj? You have to go towards Kaaba. Kaaba does not come to you. Imam is just like the same. So my brothers and sisters, the Imam of our time, he has many titles, and of these titles is Muntadhar and Muntadir. Both he's waiting and he's also the awaited. The one whom we all are waiting for his arrival, at the same time he's also waiting for our preparation. He's waiting for the capacity to exist in this world so that he'll be able to arrive and fulfill his responsibilities and accomplish the faraj of all the believers and Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. My brothers and sisters, this word congregation is such a key word that unfortunately it has been ignored and we do not conceive it and perceive it properly. And because of this, because of our own actions, because of our own negligence and regretful actions, the faraj and the accomplishment of the relief is being delayed. It's mentioned that the faraj of Banu Israel, the relief of Banu Israel, what was the relief of Banu Israel? Their release from the oppression of Fir'aun. In Banu Israel, the children of Israel, they were under the oppression, they were under the mastership of Fir'aun. They were considered slaves of the Fir'aun, the Pharaoh. What happened that they were saved? It's mentioned in the riwayat that a group of Salihin, a group of pious people from the Banu Israel, they came together for 40 days and 40 nights. They cried and they wept and they lamented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they made dua for the faraj, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them discount. In the destiny, it was about to be, the faraj was about to happen, their faraj, their relief was about to happen later on. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Moses a bit earlier. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them a concession. Imam Sadiq in the same riwayah, he says, our followers, our Shias, if they come together, 40 of them, and 40, my brothers and sisters, not just a number, it's a significance. Shows you that a good number, a considerable number of our Shias come together for 40 days and 40 nights. They lament, they weep from the sincerest of their hearts. And they request and they pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the faraj of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Allah will do the same and give concession to our ummah. And if we don't, then it will happen in this distant time. What is the key word I want to take from here? 40. Congregation. A group of us. You find it in Hadith al-Kisa, and I recommend all my brothers and sisters in every occasion possible, every Friday at least, recite Hadith al-Kisa. If you can't find a congregation, recite by yourself, but if it's better, yes, you have it with the congregations. In whatever, in your walimas, in your happy times, you got a new job, have a congregation and recite Hadith al-Kisa. Come together. And in this Hadith Kisa, it's mentioned at the end, ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا. This hadith of ours is not recited in any of the congregations of the earth. Congregations, a group of people. من جمع من شيعتنا, from a group of people from our Shias. إلا وَنَزَلَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الرَّحْمَةِ, except that Allah sends them rahmah. So what is the keyword? Allah is looking for the congregation coming together on the Shias. So individually we are precious, we are gems, we are diamonds. Coming together is important. Please read out salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad.
It's also mentioned that when you're making du'as for others, do not make du'a. When you're making du'a, do not make du'a for yourself. Make du'a for others. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of the du'a that you make for others and prayer that you make for others, will bless you through that du'a. He will look at you and say, my servant, you're making du'a and praying for the others. I will give you 100,000 times that what you are requesting for the others. This is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once a man went to the ziyarah of Imam Kazim alayhi salam, or rather he was with Imam Kazim and he was very, very happy in his prayer, smiling. And Imam Kazim asked him, after his prayer, asked him, why is it that you're happy and you're smiling? He said, I made a dua and I wanted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I didn't make it for myself, I made it for the believers, I made it for the others. Allah becomes happy through this dua, and Allah will bless me 100,000 times, according to the riwayat, what I requested for the others. Why would I be so stingy and so foolish to make dua for myself, which maybe it may be accepted or maybe it may reject by Allah, while Allah is promising that if you make dua for the others, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you 100,000 fold of that. Why would I forget about this cash and go for the credit? So the importance of getting together, my brothers and sisters. Also in riwayat, it's very famous for us that in a congregation, if 10 people come together and they make a dua, and if the congregational prayer is of 10 people, then the thawab of this, the reward of this congregational prayers, no angel can write down. If all the trees become pens and all the rivers become all the waters become ink. There is no way that anyone can write down the reward of this congregational period. See the importance of Jama'ah. Yadullah ma'al Jama'ah. The hand of Allah, the power of Allah, hand signifying the power of Allah. Ma'al Jama'ah. It's with the Jama'ah. And my brothers and sisters, this congregation can only happen when we ourselves take initiatives amongst ourselves. This majlis itself, this majlis for the 10 nights that we're having, do not limitize this majlis for this 10 nights and days of Muharram. Whenever you're deceased, maybe your deceased father, your deceased mother, your deceased relative, your deceased friend, when their death anniversary arrives, when come together and make a majlis for them. This majlis that we do because of them, for in the attention for them, Allah will send a reward of this majlis to them. For the walimas, for the happy occasions, have Hadith al-Kisa recited in congregation. Not necessary to have very expensive and very, considerably, eye-catching refreshments and so on. No, simple. Water is even enough. Simple water as a refreshment for that congregation is enough. But having that congregation itself, reviving the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam in congregation is what is missing from the arrival of the Imam of our time, my brothers and sisters. Look at the companions of Abdullah, Husayn, and Al-Mustafa. When the time comes, one is taking precedence, as-sabiqun, they're competing to go to the battlefield. Let me take the time now, let me take the opportunity now. They go ask from Abdullah, the permission from Abdullah. Who are they being sacrificed for? Is there anything sweeter than your own life in this world? Look at the instinct nature. When something flies towards you, something dangerous comes to you, you try to avoid it. And these are rushing towards death, rushing towards swords, rushing towards spears, rushing towards stone. What are these people? What kind of a congregation that Abdullah had? One being sacrificed for the other. We did mention the Masa'ib of Sa'id. Stands up in front of Abdullah Husayn while they were praying. The enemy comes up, a group of the enemy, they came with arrows shooting towards Abdullah Husayn. He would not let a single arrow touch Abdullah in his prayer. And he falls down. Astonishing questions he asked from Abdullah after the Salat. Have I fulfilled my responsibility over Abdullah? Take a sacrifice for the other. Forgetting yourself. This mania that we have, this myselfness, I that we use in the sentences, my brothers and sisters. It's very, very dangerous. That's what Abdullah Husayn and the Ashura wanted to eradicate completely among the Shias. It's mentioned that a Sahabi came to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and he asks that why are you not taking the initiative now to occultation? And I keep emphasizing this faraj, my brothers and sisters, along the word with congregation. Because the Imams have done this, and this is the missing link between us and the arrival of the Mahdi. Man comes and he says, why is it? He says, are you very good with your colleagues and your other fellow Shias? He says, yes, we're very good. We come together in congregations, we meet each other, we help each other out. And then he asks a very astonishing question. We should ask this from ourselves, my brothers and sisters. Is this help, is this relationship and this connection that you have among the Shias, is it strong enough that when one Shia puts his hand on the pocket of the other to use of his possessions in need, the other does not object? The man says, well, this is a joke, Imam. Not to this extent. We have this philosophy of possession. We make sure that our possessions are protected. But we do help each other, so then the faraj is not coming. Look at the point. It's mentioned that when the Mahdi arrives and the world is full with justice, not a single person on this earth will be left without wealth. Everyone will be able to have wealth, enough wealth to sustain their lives. There will be a sound from the Imam himself and from the callers that the Imam ordered to call and says, is there anyone who lacks in wealth of this world? And we're not only talking about wealth of this world, my brothers and sisters, wealth of the Akhirah as well will be in abundance. There will be an old lady, she says, yes, I'm lacking. And the Imam says, hold your dress in your hands. And he pours her dress with gold coins. Meaning what? All this is metaphor, not necessarily that it will happen. Meaning that this world will be filled with so much wealth. And not necessarily the wealth is the gold coins. It's the contentment that we have. Is this philosophy of whatever I own is from my brother. Be so much flourishing that the Imam will not have to be worried about, oh, our Shias are going to go in poverty. In the time of Sheikh Pusi, and then later Sheikh Ansari, when they had the Islamic seminary, the Shahriya of the many of the Tullab, the monthly stipend that they gave to the students of the Islamic seminary was in a manner that they would keep the money in a treasure house. And each of the Tullab, each of the students had a key from the treasure house. Whoever saw the need would open the treasure house, and take as much as they want from that, and take as much as they require from the treasury, and use. And no one would question, why is he taking more, why is he taking this? And why is it that I have to pour money inside that and the others have to use? If this flourishes among the Shia community around the world, and if this connection and this brotherhood and sisterhood takes place, then there is no way that the faraj of the Imam will be delayed, my brothers and sisters. On the day of Ashura, the plains of Karbala, each of the companions took precedence of the other in trying to protect the haram of Allah, the family of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They made sure that not a single person from the Banu Hashim entered into the battlefield, as long as they're alive, as long as they're breathing. Once all of them were dead, Imam Husayn looks back and he sees also only him and his family members left. Him and the Banu Hashim, his children, his brother's children, the children of Ja'far, the children of Abdullah. A few members left to protect himself and the family in the tents. Of these members, apparently, according to some traditions, Ali al-Akbar, he takes the first call and he asks his father for permission to enter into the battlefield. My brothers and sisters, it's not easy to have a son sacrificed in front of you. When Ibrahim was called upon through a dream to sacrifice his son Ismail, and when he approached him and when Ismail accepted, they went to a far place. And then when Ibrahim wanted to slaughter Ismail, he made sure that he had a very sharp knife. At the same time, he asked his son to blindfold his eyes so that he doesn't see his son being slaughtered. There is no day like your day, O Aba Abdullah. Ali al-Akbar, the brave son of Abdullah, the eldest son, he comes to Abu Abdullah and says, "Oh my father, give me permission to now enter into the battlefield." What should a father say when he sees that his son is rushing towards a certain death, a certain martyrdom? They hug each other. It's mentioned that Abu Abdullah, when he gives him the permission and Ali al-Akbar, he heads out towards the battlefield slowly on his horse. Abu Abdullah looks at Ali al-Akbar from the side of his eyes, his own son going towards the battlefield, and as he blinks, a tear from Abu Abdullah falls from his eyes through his beard. This son is not any other son. Abu Abdullah Husayn now raises his hand to the sky and says, Ya Allah, I bear you witness that I'm sending someone from me. أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا, the most resemblance of all the people in terms of morals and ethics and also in terms of body physics. To Rasulullah sallallahu. When Ali al-Akbar recited the Adhan on the day of Ashura for the morning prayer, even the enemy was astonished to see the voice of Rasulullah spread across the plains of Karbala. He would see his son on the battlefield fighting, a brave man. It's mentioned in the riwayat, in the traditions, that he killed 120 men from the side of Yazid, and he comes back to his father Abu Abdullah Husayn. And he says, "Oh my father, al-'atashu qad qatalani." The thirst is killing me, not the enemy. And the armor that I'm wearing, it's weighty, it's pulling me down. Is there any water that I can use so that I can get back energy and return back to the battlefield? Abu Abdullah, in one riwayat, says that he offers his tongue and probably the saliva that it embodies and surrounds that tongue. And the other riwayah, Abu Abdullah doesn't even have that to offer. He says to my son, bear, have patience, bear with this for a few moments. Definitely Rasulullah is waiting for you, your grandfather is waiting for you. Your father, your Ali Ibn Abi Talib, Amir Mu'min, is waiting for you to give you water on the other side. Just bear for a few minutes. Meaning what? Abu Abdullah knows his son will be killed in a few moments. He heads back. It's mentioned that he killed more than 80 plus for the second time. Eventually a man from the army of Yazid comes from the back and slashes and hits him on the head. Ali al-Akbar, now injured from the back, he falls towards the head and the neck of the horse. His hand and his leg was somewhat stuck, and the horse by mistake enters into the army of Yazid. Now that the hands and legs of Ali al-Akbar are locked and he cannot do anything to defend by himself, everyone, each one of the soldiers of Yazid who had anything in their hand, they would strike on the body of Ali al-Akbar, one with sword, one with spear, one with arrow, one with stone. Those who had nothing, they would have thrown dust towards himself, my brothers and sisters. It's mentioned that when Ali al-Akbar's horse was circulating, it was a U-shaped kind of circulation. It would go into the army and then come out. By the time he comes back, the body would have been mutilated into pieces, with the small life left in the body of Ali al-Akbar. In some riwayat it says, Ali al-Akbar calls for his father for help. Ya abata adrikni. In some other riwayats, it doesn't say that he called for help. He says, Ya abata alayka salam min jannah. The Prophet is sending you salam and is calling you to rush towards him. They're impatiently waiting for you in the heavens. It's as if he saw the Prophet already with that small energy and life left. He calls to his father to say, "Oh father, rush towards me. It's your turn now." At this moment, my brothers and sisters, it's mentioned that Abu Abdullah would rush towards Ali al-Akbar to safeguard him from the enemy, and as he would rush towards Ali al-Akbar, his son, the enemy would flee. And as he approached, he fell from the horse. Not that he came down, he fell from the horse. He could not bear seeing the situation. He comes to the body of Ali al-Akbar. He sees his body mutilated. He curses upon the killers of Ali al-Akbar. And then he calls for the Banu Hashim, the remaining members of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, to help him carry this body back to the tents. Now I don't know what help Abu Abdullah wanted. Whoever in the day of Ashura were killed, Abu Abdullah himself would go and carry the body back. But this time he's calling the Banu Hashim. Either that he has lost the power seeing the body of Ali al-Akbar, that he cannot bear lifting that body and carrying back to the tents, or that the body was mutilated so much that one man could not have gathered the body and the pieces to carry back to the tents, my brothers and sisters. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. مارتم الحسين.
Ya Husayn, 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 Ya Husayn.
I request the brothers to form a closer circle, inshallah. It's the night of Ashura. We can expand a bit so that everyone can be involved in this circle, inshallah. It's the night of Ashura. It's a night until the end of tomorrow. The Shias of Al-Mustafa are saying we find no smiling in their faces, no laughter in their day. And they're saddened and they're lamenting the atrocities befallen on Abu Husayn and his family. So I ask you all, my brothers and sisters, to spend all the energy that you have tonight, inshallah, in lamentation for Abu Husayn. Tonight, if we can, stay awake, inshallah. Tharallah, Tharallah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. Tharallah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. Tharallah, Tharallah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. I request the younger brothers and sisters to use the best of their voices, inshallah. Husayn is the rising sword of God. Tharallah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. Tharallah, Tharallah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. Karbala is on our mind. Let us see what we can find from the lives of Husayn's men who wrote the truth with a bloody pen. Allah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God.
Tharallah, Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. Allah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. In our heart there lies a scar carved in by Ali Akbar, young indeed, but there was the need for the wrath of a lion's heart. Allah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. Allah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God.
Tharallah,
Allah, Husayn is
the rising sword of God.
And of Abbas, what can we say? Look at his body at the end of the day, bloodied and cleaved. Now we perceive the faith of a soldier who truly believed. Allah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God.
Tharallah, Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. Allah,
Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. Abd Husayn, brutally slain, taught the world to overcome its pain. All aboard, seeking their Lord, but that finally overcame their sword. Allah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. Best your voices in Allah. Husayn is the rising sword of God.
Tharallah, Tharallah,
Husayn is the rising sword of God. Men like these can't be appeased, carry the future of our species. Months by night, waiting to fight, changed into lions at first daylight. Allah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Husayn is the rising sword of God. Husayn is the rising sword of God. Ya Mahdi adrikni, Ya Mahdi adrikni, Ya Mahdi adrikni. Save this world from tyranny and liberate Islam's faith from the yoke of those who hate. Allah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. Allah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. Allah, Husayn is the rising sword of God. Every day is Ashura, and every land is Karbala. Every day is Ashura, and every land is Karbala. Brothers and sisters, I know that you're tired. Every day is Ashura. It's the night of Ashura. You can spend the best in the best. Every day is Ashura, and every land is Karbala. Oh Mahdi, come to our aid. Oh Mahdi, answer our call. Oh Mahdi, come to our aid. Oh Mahdi, answer our call. All those Muslims who are suffering today, it's because we have lost our way. All the orphans and the sick and the needy are being oppressed at the hands of the greedy. All the tyrants have joined together to destroy Islam forever. As they had gathered around Karbala, it brings to light the day of Ashura. Oh Mahdi, come to our aid. Oh Mahdi, answer our call. Every day is Ashura, and every land is Karbala. Asantum, every day is Ashura, and every land is Karbala. Oh Mahdi, come to our aid. Oh Mahdi, answer our call. Oh Mahdi, come to our aid. Oh Mahdi, answer our calls. Oh, humankind should awaken their conscience to unite with Islam in one defense. When the time comes for confrontation, we all need Mahdi's consolidation. Oh Mahdi, come to our aid. Oh Mahdi, answer our calls. Every day is Ashura, and every land is Karbala. Every day is Ashura, and every land is Karbala. Oh Mahdi, come to our aid. Oh Mahdi, answer our calls. This last one, my brothers and sisters, we strike our chest the best, the hardest that we can, and we use the loudest of our voices to call for the Abba to that Husayn. Verily, he's among us. يشهدون مقامي ويسمعون كلامي. He looks at our position and he listens to our voices, inshallah. Husayn, Ya Mawla, Ya Mawla, Ya Mawla. 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 Thirsty Ruqayya, thirsty Ruqayya, thirsty Abdullah. We just need water, Father, some water. Where's your flag bearer? Where's your flag bearer? Son of Fatima, son of Fatima. Husayn, Ya Mawla, Ya Mawla, Ya Mawla. Husayn, Ya Mawla, Ya Mawla, Ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn's all alone. Husayn's all alone. Now Qasim has gone. Now Qasim has gone. Ali Akbar's gone. Ali Akbar's gone. Ali Akbar's gone. Ali Akbar's gone. Abu Fadil's gone. Even Abdullah. Husayn wa wayla. Husayn wa wayla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. 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 Zainab praise Allah. Zainab praise Allah. Where's Abu Abdullah? Where's Abu Abdullah? Where's Ali Akbar? Where is Abdullah? Where's my flag bearer? Where's my protector? Where is my Abbas? Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Zainab praise Husayn. Zainab praise Husayn. Zainab praise Husayn. Zahra praise Husayn. My tears cry Husayn. My heart cries Husayn. Husayn cried out loud. Husayn cries out loud. Where is my Abbas? Where is my Abbas? Abbas flag bearer, flag bearer, flag bearer. Abbas flag bearer, flag bearer, flag bearer. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Children crying thirst, children crying thirst. Where is my Abbas? Where is my Abbas? Abbas cries in pain. Abbas cries in pain. Children I've been slain. Children I've been slain. I can't bring water for you, Ruqayya. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Savers of Islam, savers of Islam. I send you my salam, send you my salam upon you, master. When I drink water, when I drink water, all my life for you, all my love for you, and my life for you. I will beat my chest, I will never rest. I will give my life, I will sacrifice in my all my life. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn ya Mawla, ya Mawla, ya Mawla. Husayn, 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 Husayn. Aba Abdullah Husayn, 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 Aba Abdullah, Aba Abdullah, Aba Abdullah Husayn, Aba Abdullah, Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. زيارة الله الحسين.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك وعلى جدك وأبيك. السلام عليك وعلى أمك وأخيك. السلام عليك وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك وبنيك، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي يا أبا الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا جميع شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. الأمان الأمان من فتن الزمان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Recite Surah Al-Fatiha for the Ismaili family, inshallah, for all the Mahmoud and the deceased in Islam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum. How many sisters? 7.
When you going back?
I don't know. I'm going to the bathroom.